Final episode on chapter 16. Why is the Bhagavad Gita so important to understand even today after nearly 5,000 years when it was first explained? What is the story of the Mahabharata? Why is it so relevant even today? Have you ever questioned yourself, why should we know about the Ramayana or even the characteristics of Ravana and Rama? Because the conflict that existed in these epics even today exists in our world. The understanding of these stories help us to develop the power of discrimination and follow the path most suitable. Now, Ravana was very powerful and was also a great devotee of Mahadev. He was too arrogant not to be ruined. Terrorism, scams, man-made disasters, trade wars, climate change, territorial aggressions, injustice and discrimination of various types, it still haunts our societies even today. Technological advancements and inventions, sorry to say, do not create a better society. These can make your living a lot more easier, but a good society can only be created when the people of the society are happy, are contented, and are able to live in harmony, respecting each other without any form of discrimination, and channelize such discriminatory power to understand the difference between godly and demonic traits that they can cultivate in themselves. The guidelines set forth in chapter 16, Daivāsura Sampati Yoga, will certainly help us to know where we are heading for and provide us tools to take corrective steps if one cares to improve himself. Mind is the cause of bondage, and it is the same mind that can help us get liberated too. The demonic qualities listed by Sri Krishna are mainly three, and these are interrelated, each causing and increasing the other. Desire, anger, and greed are the three most troublesome demonic traits a person develops. Krishna tells Arjuna that these are the qualities that takes a person to hell. A person who has excessive desires starts experiencing anger within, which eventually turns to wrath due to non-fulfillment of the desires. Both fulfillment and non-fulfillment of desires leads one to become more greedy for achievement of other desires, and the person is caught in a web of desire, greed and anger. Such a demonic person is lost within himself in fulfilling their own desires, and they lose any intelligence or discriminatory power. Such desperate people with all anxieties and cares lead a very futile life, struggling to acquire those desired objects and to be anxious for preserving what is acquired are all the cares of their lives. It is the only thing they live for. Satisfaction of lust is their highest goal. Their firm conviction is that there is nothing beyond in this life. They do not know what is peace, what is harmony, what is joy, what is happiness. According to them, sorrows and cares alone are the contents of life. And ultimately, they end in miserable death, exhausted and disappointed. It is extremely difficult for a person to break out of this bondage without understanding the scriptures and the prescription provided in the scriptures. Complete surrender to God can only relieve such a person of the turmoil that they are experiencing within. The seeker should therefore follow the authority of the scriptures in conducting their way of life as to what to be pursued and what to be avoided. Sri Krishna concludes with a command that having known the spiritual injunctions regarding the right way of living, one should act here and now without desire, anger or greed. The drive of desire must be replaced by the knowledge of right action. But when the supreme end of the freedom of spirit is attained, the individual acts not from instinct, not from law, but from a deep insight into the spirit of all life. I love sharing stories as I narrate, and we want to end this chapter with a beautiful story, because stories that inspire, stories that trigger emotions inside each one of us are often the best ways to learn. In a small town, there once lived a famous painter, and one day He wished to make a painting of a person who had angelic looks and seeing whom everyone would feel that they are seeing the divine. He searched everywhere to find that perfect person who had that look he had imagined. Yes, he did find a man who looked angelic and radiated divinity from his personality. He requested the man to become his muse and painted a beautiful portrait of the man. The portrait was so remarkable that the people of town wished it to be placed in a public place where everyone could see it and enjoy the serenity the portrait reflected. So the portrait was placed in a common place, attracted visitors on a daily basis. Years rolled by, and suddenly after 2 decades, the painter and old man now wished to make another painting of a person with demonic look. The painter wanted to do this to complement the previous painting and help people understand that the essence of life is to differentiate between the good and bad and make the right choice of living. He searches everywhere now for a person with devilish look and ultimately found a person in the town prison who had evil eyes and looked devilish. Seeking permission from the prison officers, the painter went with all his equipment to the prison to begin drawing the person. And as he began drawing the portrait, the man started crying. The painter was worried. He asked the prisoner if he had caused any pain to him in any way. The prisoner replied, it was his portrait that the painter had made 2 decades ago when he wanted someone with an angelic face. He then says, my deeds in the last 2 decades were only based on desire, anger and greed. It has led me to the prison gates today, and this is seen and reflected on my face too. I am crying because I am feeling bad that I did not utilize my life well and remain the way I was 2 decades ago. I had the opportunity to be good and do good to all, but I chose otherwise and I am paying the price for the same. Such is our life too. The choice is ours about how we want to live it. So make that right choice if you are listening to me right now. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe to our channel on FOV Sense.